I was in one of the branches of the water industry for many years. That is where I had an education that I would not have had otherwise. Yes, it's about water, its different methods of purification, and more importantly, about people. Fear rules. Want to control someone? Use fear. Fear. Fear of the unreasonable, like monsters under the bed, not fear as a genuine concern of imminent danger. I made a demonstration once using a very well-known brand of bottled water. I tested the tap water and then I tested the well-known brand of bottled water. The tap water was cleaner, with less impurities. Yet the woman insisted on using the bottled water because of a story she read many, many years ago about a contaminated well in Massachusetts. She lived in Virginia. I would venture to say that her kitchen was a lot cleaner than many manufacturing sites. I would also insist that her personal hygiene habits were a lot more commendable than many of the workers in these same manufacturing plants. I would imagine that her utensils, cups, glasses, and plates were a lot safer than the plastic used to enclose bottled water. But fear is the motivator. Fear. The next big thing is ignorance. We're all ignorant of something. That's life. We cannot know everything. But once we're educated about a subject, why revert back to the Dark Ages? We do because the presenter, speaker, or the preacher who seems to have authority, he or she being very charismatic, of course, demands our attention by theatrics and sheer force of voice. Take hell, for example, Hades. Do you know anyone who has ever been there? What reliable account do you have? In other words, what proof do you have that it exists? Yet, I would venture a guess that almost 100% of churchgoers believe that it does exist. Think about that for a minute. Why do they believe that? My theory is because of a trick. I call it the trickery of so-called truth. That is, you take a fact, everyone dies, that's a fact. You add a theory. Hell, for example, you don't need proof. It's a theory. Then you pass off the combination of the fact and the theory as truth. What you have is so-called compelling so-called truth. For example, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, then when you die, you'll go to hell. In other words, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, and these are the controlling factors, mind you, then when you die, which is a fact, you'll go to hell, which is a theory. You see how it works? That's a great example of using fear and ignorance for control. Some of the water manufacturing companies use the same tactics, but they are more subtle with their methods, which, by the way, is far more effective. If you're concerned about your tap water, which, by the way, is very clean and very safe, then simply call your health department and have it tested. Use logic and common sense. If the water in your municipal community was not safe, wouldn't you have hundreds of people going to the hospital every day? Remember this, you pay taxes. That tax is used to make sure you have clean water. It is one of the many uses of your hard-earned money conveyed to the government as taxes. Do not piss away your hard-earned money via bottled water. Of course, do not go to the other extreme either. If you're going to go camping or on a long drive, anywhere where you'll need water, then bottle your own water and take it with you. Don't drink the water out of gatherings and filthy streams. I mean, look at the screen. My major concern about bottled water are the containers, the plastic containers, the discarded plastic containers. Do you see them? Need I say more?